Hey, it's Carolina Christy, and I am here with the Jim Allen. And we are here to talk to you about the hottest trends for 2021 in real estate.
Thanks for letting me come in today. He told me in advance I don't get to know what our topics are, so I'm just going to try to play it on the cuff.
And the thing is, you're going to want to know what Jim has to tell you, because if you could go to the number one expert on real estate and how to build wealth in real estate, this is your guy right here. So I'm so excited to ask you these questions and what are the trends? And I think one of the number one trends I'm really wondering about is sales, pre-sales for the year. How is that going to work out for the year in 2021?
Well, I think sales were probably going to be ahead of last year significantly. It's going to be more difficult. People are going to have to be more patient because there isn't as much inventory on the market. So what we're going to find is you're going to have the need to build a little more often. It's going to be good for our team because one of our focuses is on developing land, having land we put in front of builders, and we don't always share those opportunities with the outside market. A lot of times when you come to us, you may find out about a piece of property that other agents didn't know about, other people didn't know about, because we only put portions of it out there at a time, and not intentionally not to do things with other people, but we do that really because we respond to the market's needs. And it takes us years sometimes to develop these lots we're putting out there in front of folks. So, team members like Christy and the other members of my team will have their own little arsenal of projects that they know about that they can go get built for you in all different types of price points that really aren't out there on the market yet. Because, one of the things we've learned over time is some of our custom builders really want to know a lot about that buyer before they decide they're going to make that trip and build with them, because it's a full-time commitment. Once that builder becomes your builder, it may take them 7 to 12 months to build that dream project for these folks. And when they do that, they want to know that they're going to be able to work it out. And they know and trust the members of our team. So when you bring someone in, you have credibility with that builder already, and they love to work with you. So that's one of the things you are going to see trend-wise. It'll change this year. A lot more homes are going to be custom built for someone, even if it's a production builder building it, because the supply chain's been interrupted a little bit.
So I don't want people to be scared of when they're hearing that we don't have enough inventory, because really this is an opportunity for you to do a pre-sale.
That's right.
And another trend you were talking about, I would say the number two big trend this year is going to be the way that home is built. The pre-sale is an opportunity for you to have that home office that we're all needing right now.
That's right. COVID's locked people in a cave. We are now staying at our home so many more hours that really what we use our home for has changed a little. It's now an education center. It's a work center. It's also a place you want to be comfortable and live. And even when you're living in that environment, you want some space between those things. If the kids are both on Zoom studies and they're sitting in the middle of your kitchen, it's going to be difficult to prepare food for whoever. Or if you're engaged in a business call, but the kids are in the rec room playing right next to you, it's going to be hard for you to keep your focus as well. So what we found is what's important to people in a home has really changed. Now, the kitchen's still the focal point of the house. That's not going to change. But they are asking now, hey, is there an office space? Is there an extra bedroom I can use for X or Y or Z? So a person sometimes when they're needing really only 3 bedrooms is trying to find maybe an office and another extra bedroom to turn into those other spaces. So we're hearing that quite a bit, but we are seeing everybody staying at home more.
Well, and he's always talked about, Jim's always said how important the outdoor entertainment space is. But I think for 2021, that is going to be even more important for people, because now your home is where your vacation.
That's
they tell this thing like staycation instead of vacation. A lot of people are staycationing right now in their own homes. So,
no question. I mean, my family turned on the fireplace outside. We've got one on our screen porch. I had it for years. It's never come on before. We actually
yeah.
turned it on the other night. Went out there like, oh, I forgot we had this thing. So
Yeah.
really, people are doing that because, listen, even though we're trying to socially distance, we also want to still get outside. We
Have a
want
break.
it,
Yeah.
but not where we're worried about what else is coming at us.
That's right.
So you know that
I'm seeing
that
more
patio, that screen
more
porch.
swimming pools than
Oh
ever.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I have clients right now, grandparents. They don't want to go out with their grandchildren. They want to be able to have their grandchildren and their children come over and barbecue and swim in the pool.
Absolutely.
And now their home is a center for entertainment and family time versus, hey, let's go take a trip out somewhere.
And you know what's so funny? Years ago, you know, people asked me, hey, I want to put a pool at my home.
Mhm.
I would have said, oh, that's not really a great investment. You know, you're pouring money into a hole. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Guess
Big
what?
resale.
Now you get it huge on resale. All these folks moving from California, the people moving from New York,
Yes.
people coming from Florida, all these other places that really pools are already central in their lives, they're all moving here right now, and they think a pool is just an asset that comes along with a house. But we're now finding homes sell for more because they have
That's
pools.
right.
It's not anymore that, okay, how much do you lose when you put a pool in? Now it's how much do you gain? You know, one of our custom builders, David Skank, who owns Ruttenberg Home Franchise here in the Triangle,
Mhm.
when he came to us about 10 years ago and he introduced this idea of these pools, we were like, oh, I don't know, David, that's a
It's
little
not
tough.
Florida.
Now every single home they build comes with a pool,
Mhm.
and people are amazed. And you know, I think the trend in the custom world has been, okay, if we've got a septic community, where's the pool lot?
Oh yeah.
Which ones can we get pools
That's
on?
right.
I mean, it's
That's true.
super important. It's not just, hey, can I get a 5-bedroom septic or a 4 or a 3? Where's my pool gonna go?
That's right. That's right. And that leads me into our next trend. I think the next trend is going to be what you've already mentioned, and that brings the pools here, is that we're going to see in 2021 even more out-of-state people coming to the Raleigh area.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
People are coming from all over the country because we are the best place to live, shop, and play. It's safe here. You know what? Our crime rate's very low. We have the best climate I can imagine in the world. And people are now starting to think, where do I want to live permanently?
Mhm.
I know I moved to California for the experience, but do I want to live here forever? You know, I think that we're seeing this happen because we've got so many incredible workplaces. I mean, we're not or an area that's tied to one particular type of industry. We've got the high tech, obviously, but we've got banking, we've got everything. We've got manufacturing, anything you can think of. If we're not the home base of that company, we have something. Even Amazon, you know, we've got the new distribution center for Amazon is really in an area here in the Triangle that really was not the hotbed. And now everybody's buying up all the residential land around it to be able to provide homes for these people that are working at the Amazon Center. And it's
really
if you haven't been to that campus, oh my
It's
gosh,
huge.
what an
Huge.
enormous space.
And you know what? I think we're going to see that grow even more. It's just like working at home. Companies are realizing that people are going to be shopping online and ordering these packages to be delivered.
That's right.
And companies are realizing that they don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar building for their employees anymore, and they
That's
can work
right.
from home. Now, my number 4 trend I'm really wondering how you feel about is we're going from the rental, we talked about this before, going from being a renter to a homeowner this year. So I think people are starting to see that, of course, home ownership is where you can build a lot of wealth for the average person. And this is where I really like to pick Jim's brain, because I feel like he is kind of been a forerunner in this. How do you make real estate something where you can save for your retirement? Maybe you can even retire early. if you're later in life like myself, you know, if you haven't put a lot of money away, real estate is really your opportunity to do that.
That's right. So, and it's funny, and it's as true as a nation. It's not just true here in Raleigh. The average net worth of a person who owns a home is $200,000 higher than a person who doesn't. And it doesn't matter when you invest on that curve. And the reason, let's say two people had $10,000. One person chooses to keep it in a savings account. The other person goes out and buys a home with that $10,000. Let's say it's a $200,000 home they buy. Well, last year we had 11.2% appreciation. So that home, which cost $200,000, went up to $222,000. Well, that $10,000 investment they had in that home just grew to $32,000 in 1 year. And you know, even if it's like normal in the triangle where it's 3% a year, which is what we used to see as a trend, I think this 11%, get used to it, because we're going to be there for a little while, because scarcity raises prices.
Sure.
So anyway, but just think about that. Even if it's only 5% a year, that's doubling their money every year. So they had $10,000. This $200,000 thing they control with that $10,000 goes up $10,000. They're gaining net worth every year.
So maybe you shouldn't be living in your house. You know, it used to be a time like in the 50s, you're going to buy a home, you're going to live in that home probably the rest of your life.
Till you pay it off.
Till you
Well, I
pay it
can't wait
off.
to go pay it off.
Now, really, probably the best thing you do is live in your house a year or two and then buy the next house. And
That's
keep
right.
that first house.
That's right.
And rent it out.
Keep it as an investment property, because you put minimal down payment down on that thing. And in today's world, with interest rates as low as they are, that's a huge positive cash flow. Most houses in this marketplace, even for a first home buyer, when they go to rent it again, they can rent it for $400 to $600 more a month than their payment is.
Well, and I was thinking with the great interest rates, if you can find that gem, or you've bought that property, especially like a townhome, you bought that townhome, now you're renting it out because you've now moved into the next home. If you could do a 15-year mortgage on that, in 15 years you have multiple properties, you keep those properties. When you are in your retirement, basically you're getting paid a salary for that.
I was listening to Christy, but let me give you a secret. Instead of doing a 15-year term mortgage, do a 30, but do this. Find out what's the interest payment on one of those payments that you're making, those next 12. How much interest am I paying that year? Find that out. Now you have to write it on your payment coupon when you send it in. That amount of that interest, pay that whole amount one time a year.
On your 30-year loan.
On your 30-year loan. Do that one time a year. Pay one extra payment once a year. And it's almost all interest to start out with. Pay that whole payment. You'll pay off that 30-year loan with that little bit of adjustment in 15 to 12 to 15 years.
This is what we're talking about.
You'll pay it off the same rate. But what if a time comes hard and you don't have that extra money to pay that one extra payment? Then you don't have to. And you can pay what your normal payment is. But if you just took that and broke it down monthly and paid that little bit extra towards the principal every single month, you'll pay off that note quicker. You'll not be confined to it so that you have to, but you can do it. And then listen, hey, here's the real secret, guys. If you buy and convert one of these things to a rental property, whatever you're making in positive cash flow a year, take that and chunk it towards the principal. You'll pay that thing off, and then when you're 50 or 60 or 70, you'll have whatever that amount is. And what I'm hearing in the triangle right now, the average rental home is renting for $2,600 a month. If you own 10 of those by that point, you've got a really nice retirement income, not to mention the fact this home has appreciated the whole time you owned it, and it's going up in value, while at the same time, now that it's finally paid off at the end of your life cycle, it's paying you to live.
Mhm.
And, you know, if you decide one of these days, hey, you know what? I'm still young. I still want to go do it. My friend Joe, and I won't mention his last name, but a friend of mine, Joe, who's one of my first home purchasers, is out there doing it now. They retired early, and he had all these rental properties. Well, now he's unlocking the equity in those. Some of them he's refinancing, some of them we're selling, but now he's got these cash
Yeah.
pools he can go invest in other things in real estate.
Well, I'm going to tell you, learn from my mistake. I did something really, I think, really stupid. I rented an apartment for my girls to live in while they were going to college in Cary. So actually, their apartment rent is more than my home payment. And as they were starting to complete this course, it has dawned on me, oh my gosh, I should have gone and bought a townhome or a little house, and I could own that house right now. So really, I should have, for my own children, bought a home, let them live there, especially in North Carolina where we have all these great colleges.
Right.
Why are you going to pay for the dorm or pay for them to stay somewhere during college?
And I'm going to tell you a secret. Guys, don't listen to this, but this is what I did in college. And this is a really great thing for you to do as well. Go purchase that home like Christy's talking about. Well, she has 2 daughters, so they only needed 2 bedrooms. If it had been a 3-bedroom house with a dining room, hate to tell you, do you know college students can live in a dining room sometimes? They did.
So I could have made money.
So, well, here's what I did. My parents bought that house, and I rented out one of my extra bedrooms and my dining room to friends of mine. That was where I got my spending money for college. I don't want to give your kids that idea, but
you know
just
what?
in case.
I was thinking too, what we've seen now, this big trend, is not even just college students, but now that some things have changed with jobs, and so younger adults maybe are moving back home with their parents. I don't know if you're like me. I love my children very much. I just don't want to live with them anymore.
I think all of us feel that way. And you
Yeah.
know what? I'm seeing these people bringing them in, and they're schlepping in everything they own. And now this house that they had downsized into is now busting at the seams
right.
with all the kids' stuff from wherever they're at. Instead, guys, buy a rental house near you, put them in it. You can go visit them.
Yes.
They can come visit you.
Yeah.
But then you're putting your money to work, and both of you will still live, because otherwise, listen, once kids are a certain age, living in the same house with their parents probably isn't good for either of you. I know Christy's husband Daniel's sitting there thinking, please don't come. I get to chase her around the couch right now. I won't be able to.
We would pay another, and with COVID, a lot, we paid their rent, and I'm like, but I could have been paying my own house payment if I needed to step in.
That's right.
If they weren't working. So I do think it's something, instead of following that trend where, oh my gosh, your knee-jerk reaction is, let's move all our family in here. Well, I say take advantage of this situation. Either, I would say, let your kids live in that house you're in currently, and you go buy your new house, your dream home that works for you, or go buy them a rental property.
The other thing I would be doing right now, I know an awful lot of people who have been afraid that they couldn't purchase yet would rather live in a single family home than renting in some other environment, because they're worried. You know, if I'm living in this environment, yeah, it's got a pool, it's got all these other things, but there's hundreds of people living in close proximity to me. Those people may be in a position where they'd rather go rent a house. And so I think right now, even if you don't think you can be an investor, I would tell you right now is the prime time to go become an investor. And, you know, one of the things I want to advise the people that I'm working with, maybe the first purchases you're making, make it something that's a little newer, so it's not going to have some of the upkeep that other properties have. I think I would even advise, if you can find it and it's affordable, even if it's a little further out, try to invest in a small ranch first home buyer's house, because everybody can rent it. You may get an older person that's coming that they're getting ready to build their dream house somewhere else, but they got to have somewhere to live temporarily, right? right?
If we could have, right now, I think I could just create a business on having short-term rentals for people who are building all
That's
these
right.
pre-sales this year.
That's right. These people that are out there doing all these Airbnbs, I don't know that I would go the Airbnb route. I'm not sure
No.
that that's a sustainable business. But guess what is? These people that are moving to the Triangle that don't know how to adjust yet, since we just said earlier, a lot of them are having to pre-sale and build other homes.
That's right.
They're going to come into your new home and they're not even going to bring all their stuff.
That's right.
They're going to have minimal things they bring into the house. They're going to be respectful of it because they're building a new house somewhere else
That's
themselves right now, so they're good renters to get.
Mhm.
And because they're short-term renters, I mean 3 to 8 months, 9 months, whatever that term is, they're going to be willing to pay a little more to
I agree
rent
with that.
from you at the same time. And you worry, okay, well, gosh, I'll have a lot of vacancies doing that. No, you
will
won't.
not.
No, you won't, because so many people are building right now that need this opportunity, and apartment complexes are overbooked.
And they won't
They
accommodate
aren't
them.
going to do it.
They won't do it. I think you'll have a waiting list. I really
agree.
do. And especially if you worked with a large firm like ours, we could fill that house constantly for you.
It's
I
funny.
could give you 3 right now.
Listen, it's
that are
so
waiting.
funny. A friend of mine, who's a builder here in town, and he went and bought this home. And so while he was getting ready to split this lot in half so we could go build 2 custom houses, a friend of his called him and said, "Hey, I need a place to rent temporarily." So he was like, "Well, I've got this house and I'm getting ready to tear it down, but I'll let you rent that from me for a short period of time." And he told him this astronomical number, not thinking they would ever do it. Well, they said yes. Well, so we went about, and actually he even got to build their home. So that builder is now out building this person's home.
Mhm.
And when he gets through, he's going to move them into this home that they're buying from him. He's already got another buyer who's moving into that one that he's doing. He's going to one of these days tear this house down, but he may not get a chance anytime
Yeah.
soon, because every time he gets one out, another one moves in, and they're all paying him this huge number. His lots are going to be paid for in about 5 years if he keeps doing this.
I believe it.
And he's getting pre-sale clients out of it on the other end. So, it's
awesome.
wonderful, because he's got a new thing to offer in his building company. Hey, while I'm building for you, go ahead and get your house sold so you can get top value, and don't worry about where you're going to live, because I got a house for you.
I think it's great. Now that
Works
brings
both
me
ways.
to the number 5 trend we're looking at for 2020. And I would say people are, of course, working from home, so we're going to see more people moving out.
Oh,
That's
no
where you
question.
could get that ranch for a very good price as a rental.
And what Christy's really alluding to there is, used to be everybody said it's location, location, location. And location to them at the time was being close to their business, right? Because they're making that commute. They wanted to have a grocery store next door and still be within reaching arms. Guess what? Now that they're working out of their house more, they can go a little further out and get a less expensive home. So I would tell you, I've developed and learned about areas of the Triangle I didn't even know existed pre-COVID. And now those are some of our hottest selling marketplaces. Middlesex, when I first heard about it, I didn't even know where that city existed or where it was. Now, I tell you what, when we develop a community there, we can't get a house finished before it's sold, because number one, it's still affordable, and gosh, you talking about appreciating. Those homes are appreciating like you wouldn't believe, but we're able to give somebody a larger lot, and these people are super excited. Less expensive, great quality, larger lot, and they don't have to worry about their commute to their business anymore.
Right. So have you even thought about a pre-sale for a rental property? These areas would be great for that.
Absolutely.
And I think people have like a certain thing in their mind, like you're going to scoop in and buy this old resale home and that's going to be your rental and you're not going to worry about it. But what you're saying is if you buy a pre-sale, you don't have the maintenance to worry about.
Right.
You can go out to these more rural areas where the homes are more affordable. you're still gonna have the demand for those rentals because people are not commuting the same way that they used to. And so it's just a win-win all over.
And it's funny because every weekend I see an agent from one of our other offices sending out an email. Hey guys, do you know a plumber that can fix this problem or that problem? And obviously I always refer them back to Christy's husband,
Yeah.
Daniel, who owns his own plumbing business, by the way. But anyway, I always refer that back, but it's because some of these investors and some of these people are buying this home that they were trying to get something inexpensive. Well, it came with maintenance, and they hadn't really budgeted for that. So if you go out and you buy a bunch of older homes to be your rentals, be prepared to have some money sitting on the side because you will be doing
I think
maintenance.
that's true.
These other ones, guess what? They come with home warranties from the builder to start out with. The first year, everything's covered. Guess what? All these HVAC systems, everything in it's got a manufacturer's warranty also that's carrying it to the next level. And if you buy it, the roof is one of the most expensive components to replace. Most roofs on homes now are between 25 and 35-year shingles on the roof. So you've got a long time before you're having to replace those roofs. If you buy a 30-year-old home, a lot of times that person hasn't replaced the roof yet because it wasn't leaking and it wasn't in need of immediate repair. But guess what? It will be one of these days.
I also think, I mean, I hate to say this, but in a lot of ways, I feel like, because I've had rental properties before, you'll get a better renter in a new home.
I agree with that. And I also
You can charge more and you'll get a better renter.
Listen, the other thing, the houses today are healthier houses. Our our builders have learned to build a better house. They're better insulated. The types of water heaters and other things they use in the home now are better than they were. The HVAC system, if you don't talk about anything else but that, an HVAC system since 2011 in a home. So if you bought a house since 2011, now it's an R15. I mean that system is so much more efficient than the old ones that it's unbelievable. So your utility cost of that house is going to be less, but actually that thing is a cleaner system too. You know, a lot of times, guys, one of the things we want to be careful with too when we're buying resales, sometimes maybe we should get a really thorough inspection to find out, you know, what are we worried about on that side of it. Well, with new, guess what? We're not having to worry about some of those things. So I do agree with Christy. Nobody really thinks about, hey, let's go build a rental. Instead of going and buying it, let's go build it.
Let's build some rentals.
No
I'm going to tell
question.
you, if you would go out to Johnston County, Franklin County, all these staff coming into
Wendell,
Wake Med,
Zebulon, Middlesex, Mebane. I mean, listen, in the Triangle, we are so blessed because our road system is so good. Within an hour's drive in this huge circumference, you can get anywhere. When people tell me in the Triangle, you know, I don't want to live more than 25 minutes from this. Well, that's the whole triangle. The entire triangle is within a 25-minute commute of whatever you're thinking about. Franklin County, you were talking about a minute ago. I live in, our office right here is in the center of North Raleigh. I can get to Franklin County in 15 to 20 minutes.
That's where I live.
Anywhere in Franklin County. Christy commutes here to the office all the time. She knows how simple it is. And guess what? She's coming against traffic all the time. And so no problems commuting throughout the Triangle everywhere. But what she's saying is being an investor out in those areas is just as good. Now, if you wanted a house a block from our office, you're going to pay an awful lot more for that rental. You can rent it for more, but not proportionately enough to cover the differential in price.
Well, I say have two out there instead of one in here.
That's right. See, she's right. And I agree with that. And I will tell you, she's got the inside track to something. I'm not going to tell you where it's located, but it is honestly, for her, she could walk from her house to where these new homes are being built and every single one of them is the perfect rental.
It
I
is.
mean, really,
Really great.
it's supercharged. And then we've got 4 or 5 other communities right around her home that really have the investment potential. It is that place you can rent a house for the right
Yes.
amount of money and make things happen.
Yeah, I think you want to have a rental property that a lot of people can afford. So what the average person can afford, that price range, that's your niche. So I want to thank Jim so much for being with us today. I'm so excited about all his advice. And I really want y'all to leave on, or I want to leave on this note. When you have something like a pandemic and you enter a new year, don't let fear rule your thought. I really think successful people who kind of pave the way are the ones that really think out of the box, were creative, and sought out opportunity when other people thought there was none.
Well, and I mean, our little company is the perfect example of that. This month, we just set an all-time record for any month ever. Now, who would think in the middle of a pandemic that could happen? But it has happened. Yesterday alone, we sold 9 houses over $1 million in one day. I mean, gosh, I'm like in my entire career at some point we didn't do that. But you know what? Other people recognize the Triangle is the place to live.
It really is.
And listen, guys, we're not trying to tell you that not to be worried about the sicknesses and other things.
That's right.
What we're saying is, every hurdle that's in your path, remember, there's a way to get around it, and you can get around obstacles. Be positive and upbeat. And one of the reasons I agreed to come on here with Christy today is I follow her on the things that she's been posting, and they always put me in a good mood. And she's like the Carolina Christy logo that she developed always kind of gets me feeling good. So I was like, hey, when she asked me to come on, I was like, man, I get to be on your TV show. How cool is that? That's awesome. But anyway, listen, thanks from my side, and thank you so much for asking me.
And go on jimallen.com. I think if you really want to move to this area, or you already live in this area and you want to look for a new home or rental property, or any of the creative ideas for the trends we've shared this year, all of our agents here can help you really think out of the box and help you build future wealth.
But remember, last thing, Christy's got this inside track. If you want
Call
to be
me.
an investor, you have to call her. I'm not telling you where, because this one is a big secret in a hat. But ranch homes, nice, generous sized lots in a fantastic location. You could invest or live there.
Yes.
Either one. You'd love to do either one.
Yes, definitely.
Anyway, thanks
Give me
for
a
the
call.
time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.